Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Motivational Monday. I'm so glad you're here. You know what it is today, right? It's the Daily Dish Show. Do you know what the Daily Dish is all about? It's about putting vibrancy back into your heart, mind, body, and soul. And I'm glad you're here. I need glasses. I cannot see somewhere. Okay. There we go. Can't see a thing. Anyway, I can see now. Yes. Yeah. Oh, no. Who's the chair dancer? Anyone? I see Lucy and Angie and Catherine and Helen. Who else is in the house? Denise is here. So's Flynn and Patsy. Jackie's here. So good to see you all. I'm so glad you are here. Happy Monday, for heaven's sakes, Martha and Marguerite. We're so glad you're here. And Darla, so much fun. Look at Marguerite. She takes notes. She hashtagged Hot Milk 30. Who else is Hot Milk 30? Today's day 7, by the way. How are you doing? I've been enjoying this particular one. I don't know about you, but it's been really pretty fun. I see Mary Ann and Eileen. Good to see you. Tammy's in the house too. Yay. June's here. June. Hi, Juanita. We're glad you're here. Hey, the quote of the week, that's fire right there. Hot Milk 30, says Kathy McGuire. Yeah. Of course she does. She gets it. So does Tammy. I'm so glad you're here. Anyway, I am really excited about this whole entire week. We're going to be doing a week called The Little Hinges Swinging the Big Doors. The very first time I heard this quote, I remember it was just like a big bonk. That was like the biggest cosmic 2x4 I think I'd had in a long, long time. Hi, Lizzie. I'm glad you're here. And because of that, I want to share just some insights that I had with it. Pull a few things out from W. Clement Stone, the one who gave this quote in the first place. I think it's going to be a little bit of a needle mover for you. Hello, Jocelyn. Good to see you. Jane is in the house. Cheryl, Darla. Well, I've already saw. Sarah. Yes, we're going to have lots of little hinges. Little hinges really are a thing, aren't they? Little hinges are the thing that show us and tell us about how our efforts are making our big dreams happen. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Meanwhile, we've got this amazing quote of the week. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Hello, Cosmic 2x4. Thank you for taking a visit. I love that. Yeah. It's the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Now, if you're going to have a judgment at all in your life, if you're going to work on any kind of judgment, I said, this is the kind of judgment. Something is more important than fear, like your life, like your vibrancy, like your goals, like all the good stuff. Hi, Jeanette. Debbie's in the house. Steph is here. How about that? I'm so glad you're here. Suzanne's here too. I knew you were going to show up, Suzanne. I'm glad you're here as well. So we're going to be talking about all these different things, but wait till you see the supplement of the week. Do you need a drum roll? Hi, Leisha. She's here. I'm telling you, the supplement of the week is fire because it is, we've never done this one before. It is Perfect Paleo Protein. When you buy your Perfect Paleo Protein, and you know what? You're always going to be running out, right? Always going to be running out. Hi, Donna. Good to see you. When you buy it, you get to get a mindful mug for $5. Automatically. All you have to do is just stick it in your cart and we'll do it. And may I make a plug, please, for the chocolate? My goodness, this chocolate is the most delicious thing you've ever tasted. It tastes like, well, it tastes like a milkshake is what it tastes like, and it's delicious. So I'm just letting you know. And then you get this for $5. That's a deal. That's a screaming deal. So check it out, savingdinner.com/show. That's always where we house everything. Okay. I want you to know about this because I want you to be able to get your mindful mug. Just remember this: hand wash only because it's special. I know, Sarah, the chocolate, right? That's just, it's crazy town. It's so good. What else do I have to tell you about today? We have, gosh, there is nothing really going on today. We don't have anything, any special activities or webinars or anything like that. But it is the first day of the sprint. If you want to join our free sprint, it's 7 days. It's absolutely free. The guide, the thing, the everything. And if you also want to go watch the webinar, go to savingdinner.com/hub. That's where we hide all the things. All the things. So if you're new to the sprint, this is where you go get it. And we're starting today. You can start up tomorrow. It's just that simple. And once you've done the sprint, then you'll know, wow, this is a big deal. This is why we're doing it. So that's what I have to tell you. Is there anything I'm missing, Jenny? Am I missing anything? Hi, Margot. I'm glad you're here. So good to see you. So good to see you. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about those little hinges. Yeah, Q&A. Sorry, Q&A is every Friday. Send your questions into support@savingdinner.com. And in that subject line, question for Leanne on Friday. Will you do that? When you do that, guess what? You get your questions answered on Friday. And I love answering questions. I think they're so much fun. Isn't it so much fun? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right, so we've had big time fun this weekend. We made plans with people. We've got friends coming from Cary, North Carolina, if you know where that is, out in the Raleigh area. They're coming for the 4th of July weekend. We're so excited about them coming. Kids coming for a visit. So isn't it so fun? It's so fun. Yeah, the hub sounds like a pub, says Debbie. Yeah, it's our hub for getting things done. But I just want you to know too that, you know, it's really, we need this, right? We need to get back to our lives, don't we? I feel like we've been on hold for a really long time. So being able to get back to regular life is pretty darn fun. And we're making as many plans and going and doing things. You know, you wouldn't believe me. On Saturday night, we were out. We have a clubhouse here. And I mean, Mark and I laugh because we say, we never, think about joining some place like this. And here we are at the clubhouse. They've got live music and we're out there dancing and making friends and saying hello and, hey, let's be friends. I mean, I'm like almost like one of those really needy dogs. That's how funny it's gotten. So Yolanda's in the house. Yay. And Joanne's here too. I'm so glad. Corliss, I miss seeing you. Get in here. Anyway, fun, right? Yeah, that's me. I'm just a needy little girl. I just need to have my friends all around me, and that's what we did. We met some new people, and we were saying, "Hey, come for dinner. Hey, come on over. Hey, we've got a boat. Let's get together." Lizzie's here. Donna. Yep. You remember that? I know. Carrie is now. They call it the triangle now for a good reason. There's a big tech triangle out that way, Lucy. Anyway, today, so we're talking about little hinges swinging big doors. Now, I remember when I heard that quote, it hit me upside the head because aren't we always looking for the secret sauce? Aren't we always looking for one thing that's going to just do everything? Aren't we looking for the magic pill, the magic guru, the magic book, the magic diet? We're always looking for something big. And also, we skip over the small things in our lives and we're always going for the big things like, the big birthday party or the big wedding or the big whatever. And what hit me about this quote is when I first heard it, I recognized immediately that I needed to apply this on all areas, not just my goals, but also in the moments, also in my relationships, also in things that I have too easily taken for granted, too easily brushed off. And, you know how I tell you, I absolutely hate the saying of I'm just sitting here killing time because, time is precious and killing it is sinful. It's criminal. So it's the little things in all the things. That's what that whole saying means. We're going to unpack a lot of that this week, just simply because I think this is going to be one of the things that you can add into your journaling. You can add into your thought process. When we sit and kind of marinate on stuff like this, that's when we start to get it. That's when things start to come together. That's when we start to feel like, hey, wait a minute, I get it. I get it. And that's when we can pull back and start putting ourselves squarely in the place of savoring and appreciating all those little moments, all those little micro decisions that we make throughout the day. So let's go get them. Amy, I'm glad you're home. You're recovering from the flu. I hope you're feeling better. And happy birthday to you, Sharon. I'm glad you're here. Isn't it nice when somebody comes and celebrates their birthday with you? I feel kind of special. Thank you for that. All right. So I guess what you could say then is when you get it, you get it. And you understand exactly what I'm talking about when you hear about little hinges swinging big doors. And I'm sure that it triggered something inside of you to make you think about something different. So I say it's the little decisions, it's the little choices, it's the little steps that we make. It's those little systems that we create and set up, like our rituals, our morning and our evening rituals. It's also, these are the things that end up becoming our habits. And what do our habits ultimately end up doing? Our habits end up directing how our life is going to come out. It sets us up for vibrancy or not. Isn't that funny? It's so true, though, because our habits are going to directly impact how we do things, how we approach things, how we see things, what decision we make, all of these little things. It's a constant drip, drip, drip. And if you think about it, how do you lose weight? 1 ounce at a time. How does a water pitcher get filled up if it's sitting under a dripping sink? 1 drip at a time. But it'll ultimately get filled up, just that 1 little drip. That's how I look at all of this. So I know that we all look forward and we all look ahead on that horizon and we see that lovely goal, don't we? We look longingly at that goal. Well, we're looking longingly at the door is what we're doing. We're looking longingly and wishing for it to open. But when it's the hinges that make it possible for the door to open, that's what we need to start focusing on. As much as we're focusing on the door, we need to focus on the hinges, because the hinges, that's where the action is for the door. Without the hinges, the door doesn't open. It doesn't. I mean, you have to pick the door up and physically take it, out of that space. But it's not really functioning as a door anymore. It's just a great big piece of wood. It functions as a door when the hinges are installed. And this is how our lives are. It's so much more functional when we put those hinges in, when we grease them up and oil them. Doesn't it make all the difference? Noreen just said, our habits save me from the hot milk 30. Yeah, I understand that. I understand exactly what you mean. When your habits are serving you, your habits do become your hinges. Your habits do open the doors. And, everything behind everything is a door. There's a door. Well, there's a door in front of everything that we want. Who here remembers Let's Make a Deal? Remember that? What was his name? Monty Hall? Come on down. And it was like door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. I have fun news. My dad was on the show, Let's Make a Deal. And he chose, the thing that he chose, he had door number 1, door number 2. He chose door number 2. And guess what? Behind door number 2, he got sheets and towels, like $700 worth of, well, and this is back in the 70s too. My mother was like, what are we going to do with all that stuff? Well, let me just tell you, I still have one of those towels that came from that set. I call it my hair towel now because it's so thin, but I still love it. I got it from my mother when she passed away because she used it as her hair towel. But this is, that's what it was. What was behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3? And the funny story is my mother worked so hard on her costume. She went as the old scrub lady, like from the Carol Burnett show. And she was so proud of herself and she worked on it. She she made a little hat, and she did all kinds of funny things. My dad, however, just put on his tux, took his tie and made it all askew, and had my mom kiss him all over the face and put a bottle of booze in his pocket. And my mother was so mad at him because he didn't have a costume. And then this is what he did. And then he got chosen to be on the trading floor, and she did not. She was so mad. We used to laugh about that all the time. But anyway, he got chosen, and he was picked right away. And my mom said she knew it was going to happen because they kept eyeballing him, and because they loved his costume. They thought it was hysterical. See what happens on the last thing? Anyway, that was a great, huge departure from let's make a deal. But the point is, there's always something behind our goals. It's our whys. It's the thing that we want. And in order to get past the door, we got to get it open. It's always going to be hinges. Always. That's what holds doors together. And that is what creates our habits, that creates the system, and that gets us to the next place and gets us to the life that we truly want to lead. So when we're looking at all of this stuff, we start putting it all together. And this is the starting gate right here. This is the starting gate of understanding that, yes, indeed, you have to have this one thing. You have to have this one thing in place. You have to have a system. You have to have something, because the whole thing is, and let me just ask you this, if your door was on the hinges sometimes and not on the hinges other times, would you find it a dependable door to open and close? You would not. In order for the door to operate consistently, those hinges have to stay on the door. Like our systems have to stay with us so that we can finally get to that place of opening the door. And we don't need Monty Hall to help us out either, do we? They play the reruns sometimes, I think, on one of those TV shows. And I just thought, well, if I had the strength, I would watch them so I could see my dad on there. And remember when he was on there, it was such a riot. It would be fun to see him, wouldn't it? So what we're going to be doing then is I wanted to give you three other things that W. Clement Stone said after he said little hinges open big doors, because I think the after part is just as imperative as the front part of this. And the first thing is that he said this: it's your environment that will control you. Therefore, control your environment. Well, how about that? How often have we talked about that? How often have we talked about that? Every single day, we have an opportunity to set our environment up for success. Every single day. We don't have to be controlled by the things that are around us. This is our environment. Nobody's going to be knocking on your door and say, hey, this is the environment police. Let me see. Yeah. Have you made your bed today? Let me see. Have you cleaned up after yourself? Let me see your pantry. Let me see. Have you journaled? Have you meditated? No one's going to do that. Oh, Jeanette just said the saying becoming unhinged. Wow. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because we do become unhinged when our environment is not supporting the kind of life that we want to lead. Now, remember, we've talked before so many times about having our alignment assignment. And what is our alignment assignment? Our alignment assignment is when our ideals, our thoughts, our processes, our habits, our actions are all lined up. Doesn't it feel so good? But when we're out of alignment, that's when we're saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. And you have a whole refrigerator full of beautiful produce and it just sits there and rots. And you opt to go through the golden arches for takeout instead of coming home and making whatever it was that you're going to make off of your hot milk Sprint. That's where we get out of alignment. And that's where the struggle is. And that's where the mental fatigue is. And that's why we give up. But if we understand that we can choose our environment, we can make simple decisions to have a supportive environment, and we all have the ability to say to the rest of the family who's doing something that would otherwise disrupt us, for example, this is your pantry, this is mine. And you just don't ever opened their pantry door. Figure it out. We can do this if we choose it. Every single time, if we choose. It's always a choice. It's always a decision. And your environment helps to create the decisions for you. That's why it's so critical that it's set up for you. And what are we talking about? We're talking about the way we think. This is why we have, our quote decks. These are flying out the door, by the way, and you can find them at savingdinner.com/quote. We have the little stand that they go on, and then you have a quote that you can pull up and take a look at. And I'm telling you, there's like 50 something, I don't even know, 54 quotes in there. And they're looking at us. It's looking at us and it's changing our mind. And as we change our mind, we change our environment. As we change the way we think, we change what we do. That's fact. But it takes a minute. It isn't just instantaneous, boom, done. It's constant. It's the constant exposure. It's like if you go out in the sun, depending on who you are, of course. I go out in the sun for 10 minutes, I'm gonna get a little bit of a sunburn. You might go out in the sun and it might take you a while. Just different exposures, for different people. That's how it is. That's how it works for all of us. But our environment sets us up for success, or it chisels and chips away at our control. Because if we understand that willpower is not where it's at, environment is where it's at, then we're not going to always be relying on willpower and motivation and all these other vague things that so quickly disappear. Our environment has set us up for success. We see the quote decks, right? We're using our journals, right? This journal is a game changer. Who's using their journal here? I don't know about you, but every single day when I'm writing I am an athlete out, I am empowering my brain. I am making a new connection. And the decision on whether or not I'm going to go off the rails and just sit on my butt and play games on my phone and watch Netflix instead of stepping into the gym and doing the work, that it's just dissipating because I am an athlete. I am an athlete. Sarah said she loves the journal. Thank you, Sarah. I'm glad you do. It makes a difference. You're writing your goals out every single freaking day. That is making an impression. It is making a synapse happen. It's creating a new one in your head. That's different. That's different. That's not just making goals and going away and then, hoping that maybe at the end of the year they show up. It's a whole different system because we are training our brains. We're training our environment. We're training the whole kit and caboodle, I love this. Noreen says she's using her journal and checking in with her body clutter buddy every day. What do you think? What do you think's going on in Noreen's life? Change? You think? Have you seen her? Have you looked at her pictures? Yeah, it's happening. June's using the journal. It's happening for her. Jocelyn, everyone who's doing this. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? We are doing it because we want the change. We're setting up our environment. We're setting it all up and we're connecting all the dots. That's a little hinge. That's a little tiny hinge. How long does it take? 10 minutes in the morning, maybe? And look at what it's doing. It's impressing upon you that this is who you are, changing your environment, changing the things that you do, making success happen. So he said it's everything. Avoid situations, acquaintances, and associates who hold you back. What happens, let's say you had a problem with binge eating. What happens when you get back, go see a friend who said, hey, the new fill in the blank buffet restaurant just opened down the street. Want to come? What happens? You go and you do. You don't sit there and say, no, I'll have the salad and some grilled chicken. You don't. No. This is why we avoid this kind of thing. We don't hang out with people who bring us down again. We can't. So we have to look at that. And it is all about our environment. We have success tools for our environment. We just have to use them to set that up. It's that simple. Number 2, success is gained by trying. This is from W. Clement Stone. This is what he said after he said little hinges swing big doors. Success is gained by trying. And I know what Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. Well, I say you got to try it on. If you want to find a pair of shoes that fit, you've got to try them on. I used to, for a while there, I thought, ooh, Zappos, cute, cool. You can try them on and then send them back. Well, I tried them on and sent them back so many times, I didn't want to do it anymore. It's too much work. Shoes need to be tried on to know if they fit. Same with jeans. I mean, who buys jeans off the internet and hopes for the best? We have to, there's certain things that have to be tried on. It's the same thing with habits. Like, does this work, or would this doing just this little bit of a thing be different and help me out? Would this serve me better? Because it's not about doing it just the way everybody else is doing it. It's doing the way it works for you. You've got to customize it. Every single thing. You got to customize your food. You got to customize your habits, your mornings, your evenings. You got to customize it. We all do. You can't live my life. I can't live yours. And that's been part of the problem, is that we see the guru, we see the whomever doing the thing, and we think, oh, if I did it just exactly what you do. And I've had people ask me, what exactly do you do? Tell me about your morning routine. Tell me about this, that, and the other. And I always bristle a little bit when people say that, because I don't want anybody just copying me because they think, oh, she's got it all together, because I don't. Number one, I'm not perfect, but I do make an effort to be excellent every day. But number two, don't try to put your square peg in my round hole, right? Because you and I are different, Probably we all have our different circumstances. So we all need to give ourselves a lot of latitude and a lot of grace to work this thing out. So when Yoda, who fortunately is a fictional character, says, do or do not, there is no try, I disagree. There is plenty of trying. And as long as we don't quit, then we're fine. We want grit, not quit, right? But we need to keep messing around. What Joanne said, yes, always tweaking. Of course, always tweaking. We have to tweak. When we tweak, we're making it better, or we think we are. And then maybe sometimes we've even done this. I have gone back and said, well, maybe not. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But what we do is we don't quit. We just keep going forward. And it's a cha-cha, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. But eventually we get to the place where we're going, aha, sweet spot. There it is. Got it. And you've got that hinge just proportionally done for that great big huge door. And there's an art to hanging a good door. I was looking in my my old house that we lived in before we were here, and they had beautiful custom doors on all the doors, the door frames and what have you. But they were all hung just a little wonky. And you could see, when you looked out, you could see that, it wasn't even. You could see kind of uneven light on the bottom, And I remember we had another doors that they just wouldn't close all the way, and we had to have them adjusted. We had to keep calling out and have them, I want the bathroom door to latch when I close it. Thank you very much. I had to get it adjusted and adjusted. And finally, the guy that came out said, he said, there's a real art to hanging a door correctly. And he fixed it. So, he understood and he knew. But there's an art for us getting those hinges just right so that this fits our life just right. That makes all the difference in the world. So we won't know what works for us until we try and try and try and try again. Number 3, thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. Isn't that so funny? He said that, and that's so much like our last week quote, That was so much like our last week quote. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. So I want you to start thinking about what we talked about fear a lot last week. We unloaded and unpacked a ton of fear and what fear was and how we can overcome it. But one of the things that we learned was that exactly what this quote was, that that this is what people have. This is the thing that people do is they get locked up and focus on the fear instead of the judgment that they need to let something go. That's our fear. That's what this is right here, right? It wasn't last week's, it's this week's. The judgment that something is more important than fear. Or wait a minute, do I have the wrong thing? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, this is last week's. Sorry, you guys, I'm a little bit confused. But I love this quote so much. And this is a cosmic 2x4. This is a cosmic 2x4 because there's a judgment made that is saying to you that there is something more important than fear. And I will say it's your life on the other side. It's the vibrancy that you're desperately seeking. And we're never going to do it using the same means that we've always used, trying to imitate and duplicate what other people are doing instead of getting into the customization of what it is that we need to be doing for our own lives. That's the key right there. So thinking won't overcome fear, but your action 100% will. Yes, your action will. So I want you to think about some little hinges that are opening doors in your life. One of the things for me, are you ready for this? Making my bed. That became a big deal. When I made my bed, I picked up my clothes. When I picked up my clothes and I put them in the dirty clothes. When I put them in the dirty clothes, I ended up running some wash, and then I managed to get it out of the washing machine before it got stinky. I managed to dry it and I managed to fold it and put it away. And when I found out that there was too much stuff in my closet and in my dresser, I got rid of a bunch of stuff that I never wore. It was really quite easy. But I was open for it too, because what I was doing wasn't working. I'm talking about 20 something years ago when I first met Fly Lady. And, that was a cosmic 2x4, that meeting with her and learning all about this stuff. I didn't understand why it didn't just come naturally to me. It came naturally to my sister. Why didn't it come like that to me? It came to my mom like that. It didn't to me though. I had to be taught something different. I had to learn to think in how my brain wanted to operate. So making a bed was a great big deal. Setting up a hydration station, that's what kept me on top of being hydrated. That's why I share that with you. Hydration station all set up the day before or the night before or in the morning, and then setting your alarms on your phone, magic. It happens. That's a little hinge. Putting your workout clothes on first thing in the morning. Now you're ready to go. Get it done. Cleaning up after yourself every single time. That's my mom. Clean up after yourself, after yourself, after yourself, after yourself. And when I found myself, one time I remember looking at my bathroom, it looked like a bomb went off. And I just said, okay, that's it. Here's the makeup drawer. Here's the this drawer. Here's the that. I made place for everything. And once everything had its place, I got myself in the habit of if it came out, it went back to where it came from. Now, I know that just sounds like you're like, right? But, if your house never looks like a bomb went off, then because you've made a place for everything and then you just put it away after you're done using it, makes it really easy. What a concept, right? But it's a little thing. Do a pantry raid. Be ruthless. You need your own pantry. And can I just say that? Amen. Just amen it to me, okay? Amen. You need your pantry. You need your place in the refrigerator. You need your things. And you need the things that do not serve and hold you back and cause you to stumble out of your sight. When we train our brains to have this environment for success, it makes all the difference in the world. And there's a lot of different things that you can do. And there's a lot of different ways in which you can set your environment up for success, even if you can't share, a pantry. There are things that you can do. And you know that. I'm your soul sister. All right, Sarah, I'll take that. Yes, you're my soul sister too. The other thing is floss every single day. Now, I know I'm talking about crazy thing, just all off the wall. It's a big mishmash of everything. But flossing your teeth every day. Do you know that you are less likely to have a cardiac episode if you floss once a day? Do you know if you floss twice a day, even better? I'll give you the stats on that tomorrow. I should have looked it up, but it's incredible, especially for women. Floss. So you know what I did? You want to hear my little hinge? I have little floss picks that are sitting in a little box that are on my desk, and I have another one upstairs underneath on the coffee table. So I mean, there is no reason in the world after we have dinner every night. We're sitting down watching the news or whatever. I get out the floss picks, and that's the second time I've flossed in the day. What a difference it's made. And you get to the point where if you're a regular flosser, especially if you're flossing twice a day, where you just can't not floss because you feel like your teeth are just packed full of garbage. But what a difference it makes and how clean it is. And my dental hygienist was like, girl, your teeth are really looking good. And it makes a difference in when they do the pocket thing and all. It just huge difference. Trust me on this one. Floss twice a day. Call someone and tell them you're thinking about them. Don't just think about them. Call them and tell them you're thinking about them. That's a little hinge that swings open a big door of a relationship that maybe needs a little nurture. Compliment one of your children. I remember my mother. Yeah, it is. Gum disease is correlated to dementia. All of it. It's ridiculous. Flossing is, if you can't, the floss habit is just like a non-negotiable. I will probably, when I get died and buried, they'll probably have floss in my pockets. I'm just saying. But compliment one of your children. I just remember one time when my mother said something really nice to me, and it's a long story of what she said. And what it was all in relation to, but I was 50 something years old, and it meant everything to me. Because as parents, we are always correcting. We're always doing something to get our kids to go in the right direction or whatever. What if you complimented them? What if you said, you know what, you're just like the best artist, or you're an amazing kid, not what they look like, not like you look pretty today, but something complimentary of who they are. I think it'd go a long way. And then another one was like, and I did this all last week, is put a book right where the remote should be and read instead. Maybe not quite so much television. These are little habits, the little things that you can do, little things to kind of change your mind a little bit. This is BJ Fogg, who's the author of The Tiny Habits, says that the goal then is to feel good, not bad, but to feel good about these little changes that you're making, giving yourself plenty of articles. That's why, in the Take Back Your Life journal, I'll show you, not on one of my pages, but I'm not going to show all of my stuff. But you see there, you got your meal plan on the bottom. You also have your wins for the day. We do this on purpose because, that's a psychological thing. That helps to rewire our brains as well. That's important. So if it helps us to feel good about who we are and what we're doing, it helps us to stop judging ourselves. We don't need that. We don't need to judge ourselves. You don't need to be saying, oh, make your bed, you stupid slob. It's just, hey, make your bed, because that'll start something good. You'll have one accomplishment done for the day. I watched a YouTube video on making your bed years ago. It was a lot of years ago. I already had the habit in place. Of course, I did send it to my children. Can't help myself. But making your bed is like a big deal because it sets off the tone of the day. You start out with one accomplishment already under your belt, and you haven't even brushed your teeth yet. I think it's fantastic. So he said to break down when you break down your big goals into smaller goals, your approachable ones, and they become smaller, approachable, and then we can embrace our mistakes as discoverable, as discoveries instead of like more fodder for the beat up stuff. We don't need to be doing that. I love this. Embracing your mistakes as discoveries. This is why we say we have grit. We don't quit. We keep it going. We keep it going. And when we make these discoveries and discover what doesn't work and decide instead to go forward, guess what? We get to do that. And guess what else happens? We start to see some success, and that's how we build our momentum. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. So there you go. That's just a little something on those hinges. We're going to be talking about it all week. All week. Yeah. Joanne says she can't imagine not making her bed every morning. First thing I do when my feet hit the floor. Yeah, and it's so much fun to start the day with such a positive. So thank you for joining me today, and thank you again for being a part of this whole thing. Don't we have a great time together? I think we do. I will see you tomorrow for, let's see, Tuesday's Transformational Tip Tuesday. It's going to be fun. Are you ready for it? I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.